Okay, I am back. Who's the other person that wanted to join the live? Hold on. What's Natalie's last name? Natalie Garcia. Okay, hold on, Natalie. Oh my god. Okay, Natalie Garcia Contreras. Natalie Garcia Contreras. And what's your profile picture here? Message. Okay, Natalie and Anna, I've sent you at the stream. There you are. Okay, I think we're good now. How's it going?
Going well.
Awesome. Natalie, I sent you the link too, so I'll add you when you're live. So
Like, why do you sound so low? Let me see.
oh, hold on.
I'm that too, but I think you sound really low. I'm like, let me see.
Is this better? Is this better?
Oh.
Can you hear me? No?
A little. Yeah. Maybe it's my phone. Yeah. Okay.
Gosh. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
You can? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Natalie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. Really technologically challenged.
It's okay. It happens.
Okay, so continuing, I'll finish my story and then you guys can go over yours. So I traveled the first time last year in 2021, and then I got that second AP approved later last year, and then I traveled again in November, December, February, and April. Wait, no, yeah, 4 times total between last year and this year, and then I just traveled again, came back this last week from Brazil. So I've traveled on a outstanding removal order 5 times now, and I'm traveling again soon. They only gave me 4.5 months, so it's going to be a lot more rush than I expected, unfortunately, but I really need to take advantage of it. So I hope if you guys have not applied for AP, please do it. I'm living proof that it is safe as long as you abide by your dates. Don't leave before you're allowed. Don't stay longer than you're allowed. You'll be just fine. So Anna is our VIP who's traveled a lot as well. And we always love hearing her stories. And I think she just traveled recently, and we can't wait to talk about that, Anna. Go ahead.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry. I took out my passport because I wanted to count how many stamps I have, so I can, talk about it. Not to brag or anything, guys. I'm just saying. I wanted to know myself.
Okay.
So, okay. So my name is Ana Brenda Vega. I am 28 years old. I was born in Mexico, raised in New Jersey, and now I reside in Florida. I was here in the U.S. since I was 5 years old. The first time I applied for advanced parole, it was for humanitarian reasons. My grandma was really sick. And unfortunately, because I didn't know of this group, I was like, okay, I want to apply. I was desperate. My grandma was sick. I went through a lawyer. Unfortunately, through the lawyer, I only got 30 days and one entry. So I was really upset and I'm like, okay, like how? And then I found this group and then I decided to ask my lawyer for my original application, gathered everything, and I'm like, well, I can apply it by myself. So I took the time to like read and I was like, okay, what's going to be my reason? What can I apply for? Honestly, I was just so excited to just go and travel that I was like, all right, dental, because I've been pulling off like my dental work. So I was like, okay, long story short, to my dental story. I just read the guides. I watched all the YouTube videos on like the tutorials. I mean, I really did take my time. Did I read through other dentals and like other examples? No, because I was just that excited to like, okay, what do I have to do? I got to get it done like now. It took me about a month and a half to gather all the stuff that I needed between going to get a quote here, and during this application, my mother-in-law, who lives in Peru, was able to help me get a quote from 3 different dentists in Peru. I'm from Mexico, and I went through the cheapest route. So what I did was I had the quote from the US, got the quote from Peru, and when I was filling out my application, because I honestly forgot what countries I put on my application because I was that excited, I just opened up Google Maps and I was like, hey, let me see, like, what if I have to do a connection flight? Mind you, I don't know what it feels like to travel. I barely, I went to Mexico one time. So I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. I opened it up and I put Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Panama, and like 5, even DR, just in case I had to get a connecting flight. Because again, I didn't know how long was it. I didn't even know it was a 6-hour flight from here to Peru. So I was like, okay, let me figure it out. Long story short, during my application, I mean, everybody asks me, like, what did you do? I asked for 365 days with multiple entries, and I got approved for that. So I really feel that the reason why I got approved for that was because I really did put my all into going above and beyond. Like my affidavit letter was on point. I have 2 jobs. I kept applying and for insurance and I kept getting denied. So I just added all that into my application. I took pictures of my teeth. Like when I tell you that I made sure that whoever took my case had the opportunity to see that I really needed, multiple entries for a whole year because that's what my dental work is. Now, this year I've been to Mexico 4 or 5 times. I've been to Colombia. I've been to Peru twice now. I'm going to Mexico on Thursday. So I love to travel. Yes. Will I take advantage of my 365 days of multiple entries? Absolutely. Everybody asks me, hey, can you help me? Can you do this? I mean, we do have one-on-ones. I wish it was that easy for me to just do it for you guys because I really want you guys to get that full experience. I mean, I still shake when I'm at the airport, like TSA knows me already in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, but it's still a feeling that, is it scary? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie. I mean, every time I pack my luggage, I'm like, damn, I can't believe I'm gonna do it all over again, but it's worth every bit of it. And once 4 months before it expires, I will definitely be applying again because until I can adjust my status and just, figure out what I'm going to do in order to get, my AOS, I still want to be able to have this freedom because I haven't had it. I've been here for 22 years. And long story short, I mean, I really do thank this group, especially Hugo, Vanessa, because you guys are like huge and just motivating me enough to just even apply, But yeah, that's it. I mean, I have 8 stamps on my passport and not including the one that I'm going to come back with. But stay tuned. I post a lot when I go away. So that's my spiel.
Awesome. I think I get more scared now. I don't. This last time was like the first time that I wasn't scared at all. I am more scared about losing my documents than I am about going to
Yes.
customs. Like
Yes.
that's what I'm worried about. So I'm looking
Yeah.
at my bag every
I
30
know.
minutes to make sure it's
I'm
still
like,
there.
I'm like holding on to life with it. I'm like, let me not do it. But I must say that this time because I flew with grandma, I brought my fiance's grandma from Peru. That's why I went to go pick her up. It was easier. TSA, I'm like, damn, no wonder why people travel with like older people and they love it because it was like VIP treatment. Didn't get asked no questions. I didn't even have to do the second inspection of like my luggage. Like they took it with grandma and it was like, oh, this is all you have. And actually this time was really funny that the TSA agent was new. She's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm new. Like, where would you like me to stamp? Like, I can't stamp your AP document. Like, where do you mind? Like, any page?" I'm looking at him like, I gotta go. Honey, wherever you want to stamp it, whatever page, just stamp it, please, because grandma's waiting for me. We laughed, he stamped it, and I went about my way. You know what I mean? Like, but I was still scared, like I was like, where's my document? Like, what's going on? It was traumatizing. It was.
Hey, Natalie, how about you? I can't wait to hear your story.
All right. Well, can you guys hear me fine?
Yes.
Sorry, I have my little munchkin over here, so she wants to put her input too. At first I was like very scared to apply for AP because I was like, our family members and everyone was like, "Oh, what happens if they don't let you in? You have your kids. What are you gonna do if they deny your entry?" Like, you start making up scenarios in your head, and it took me a while to apply. Like, I have two coworkers that applied for it like way before me. So then, they were like, "Come on, like, when are you gonna apply?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it." Like, I sent it already, but in reality, it was like sitting on my computer. Like, I had everything. Like, my dad had sent me everything, and I was like, I'm scared. I'm scared to, travel. Like, just the thought of like the immigration not letting me back in. Like, what's gonna happen with my kids? Like, it was just a scary feeling. I think like me as a parent, maybe other parents that are here, maybe agree with me or maybe not. But just the thought of not seeing my kids, ever again. Like, oh my God, like what am I gonna do? Or all these things. But then at the end, like my dad was like, "Hey, like, did you apply already?" And I was like, yeah, I applied, but I had not applied. And he was like, "Come on, I want to see you already." Okay, go over there. I had not seen my dad in 13 years. So I was brought to the US when I was 7. So it was 25 years. I'm 33 now. My parents left the US when my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. So they ended up leaving back to Mexico because my mom was like, "I just want to go back to my country. Like, if anything happens, I just want to, pass away over there or whatever." And they ended up leaving. My mom passed away a year before they gave DACA. So it was in 2011 that she passed away, and then the following year they gave DACA. I did not apply for DACA right away. I applied for DACA in 2015. And just the thought of like not being able to say goodbye to my mom was like very heavy, like on my heart. So then at the end, I was like, you know what, just go for it and leave everything in God's hands. Because like there's a saying in Spanish, "Tú pones y Dios dispone." So you just gotta have faith. So I did end up applying. I sent the letter. I applied in May. My letter that my dad sent me was from like March. So I don't know if I got lucky from the officer and he was just like, "Whatever, like, I'm going to approve you." But I was like, darn it, like my letter's from March. I did not get a new one. Like, oh my, they're gonna they're gonna send me an RFE. Like, oh my, like I was nervous because I kept going back and forth. Like, do I apply for multiple entries or just one entry? So my reasons were like, I wanted to go see my mom's grave, and then my grandpa suffers from Alzheimer's. So those were my reasons. And then when I applied, they gave me from October 3rd till December 12th, like one entry. But
And
like,
how long were you there for?
I was there for a week because work. I was like, okay, I don't have vacation. Like, I cannot stay like the whole 2 months unpaid, and I got bills to pay. So I just wanted to get like I said, like my legal entry. Yeah. I'm engaged to my boyfriend, so he is a resident. I'm working on him becoming a citizen, so then I can start my process of AOS through him.
And where did you go again?
Mexico. I went to Mexico.
Where in Mexico?
Jalisco. I
Where
went
in
to
Jalisco?
It's a little small town.
Okay.
It's called Atotonilco El Bajo, so it's like an hour and a half away from Guadalajara.
Okay.
It's like very like rural, very like chill, small town.
Oh, I don't see her anymore. Do you see her, Anna? Oh, I think
No,
she
I don't see her.
dropped. While she tries to come back, let's answer some questions. Yvonne, where are you traveling next? I'm still trying to decide. I do have a trip scheduled to Brazil on December 7th or 8th, but I'm trying to go somewhere this weekend that has not been decided yet. I did list the UK on my application, and I really wanted to go to London, but I'm trying to find somebody to go with me. My husband cannot go this time, so I'm contemplating whether I want to do that by myself or not, or can also go to Argentina or Chile for like a day or two, because I hear the flights, when you're flying standby, Chile and Argentina for some reason are not really in demand, like destinations that are in demand. So there's always seats available. So those will be two easy places to get to. So yeah, I may be going somewhere before December 8th, but I'm
Sorry, I
probably going
got
to
cut
travel at
off.
least 4 times. Yeah.
I got kicked out of the live. A call came in and then it kicked me out. And I was like, what the heck?
We're started answering some questions while we were waiting for you. Let's see. Tavita, I sent my RFE on Thursday, got an email on Friday. We have taken action on your case. Yesterday morning, I got the same email, but my account hasn't updated. Yeah, that's normal. If it was on Friday, today is just Monday, so you're probably gonna see something tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. But yeah, congratulations. That means you got approved. Let's see. I am debating. So good. I'm debating. I'm approved, but so super scared, like shaking scared. How can I get this off my chest? We all get really scared. Okay, I have a freaking deportation order. Look, you cannot be any worse off than me. So if that doesn't make you feel better, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
You will be
Hugo,
fine.
you were like my inspiration, because every time
Right.
you'd be like,
I'm
hey, like
what?
I'm back, and I was
I'm like Colombia,
wait.
Peru. Ugo made it back.
Yes,
I'll be back. I'll be all right.
yes, I'm gonna be out. You were like my motivation to like apply, and I was like, okay, Hugo can do it, I can do it. Like,
You did
you
it.
know.
Exactly. Yeah, I only heard of one person doing it before me, and it was somebody I went to school with. But like in 5 years, he was the only person that I actually knew who did it. So yeah, it took a tragedy happening for me to take the plunge, because it was really scary. Natalie, Hugo, go to Chile. Oh, it is your home country. Okay, so right now we're debating between Argentina and Chile for this weekend. I was leaning towards Argentina, but maybe you can send me some good things in Chile. Those are easy ones for us to get to on standby. Hugo, have you been questioned by officers regarding your deportation? Nope, never. The first time I traveled, I was in disbelief how easy it was, because I was mentally prepared to be interrogated for hours. I was just like, I know it's gonna happen. I made peace with myself. I had my answers, in my head, and then they're like, "Okay, you're good to go," and I'm like, "You sure?" So no.
Like you don't even believe it, because like when I came in, there were I traveled with my three kids. I had my oldest is 15, my youngest is 2. When I got to immigration and Chicago O'Hare, I came through Chicago O'Hare. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They're like, oh, okay. Like she looked over my AP paper and she's like, your passport. I gave her my passport. She's like, oh, I don't have a stamp. Where did you go? I'm like, oh, Mexico. And then she's like, did you bring like any plants, any seeds? I was like, no. She's like, any alcohol? And I was like, one bottle of tequila. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, well, just follow me. They took me to the cuartito, or the second, inspection. And I sat there, was out of there maybe less than 5 minutes. And then they called me up, and then he's like, oh, are you under the program of DACA? And I was like, yes. And he's like, okay, you're good to go. And I stood there and I was like, I'm good to go. And he's like, yeah, go. What are you doing here? And I was like, oh, okay. So then I was like, told my kids, I was like, let's go before he changes his
Run.
mind. But it took me like a while, to hit me that I had actually traveled back, and spent time with my
Yeah.
family, because it had been so long. Like, to me, it was just like, is this real? Like, is this really happening? And then everybody was like calling my phone, asking me like, did you pass immigration? Are you okay? Did you make it back? And I'm like, yes, I passed immigration. Like, I was taking longer to get my luggage than actually what I went through, like the little cuartito.
Yeah.
But it was like, everyone's like, do you believe now you went back to Mexico? And I was like, yes, like, but it was like something that I never thought I was gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah. Anna, have you been asked anything more than the ordinary in any of your?
No, I actually laugh whenever, so 7 times passing immigration. And it's usually the same questions. It's, where'd you come? How many days? Do you have any money? And I'm so serious at the time because I'm just like either hungry or tired. And I'm like, I gotta go. Let's go. Like, I don't ask, like, if they ask me, I answer like necessary. Yes, no, short, like simple, but it's never one time they're like, do you have food? And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, and alcohol too. And he's like, what? I didn't ask you that. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just like, great. You were going to ask me that next, though. So I was like, okay, fine, if we're going to go that route. But no, they never really asked me. I mean, except, well, I'm not going to lie. Colombia was a little scary. Colombia was, and the only thing was they really checked me, like if I was snuggling drugs, and they said it was only protocol because of the country.
Mhm.
But other than, like, they literally went, like, they opened up my both luggage. I mean, Colombia. I mean, I get it now. I get it. But they just opened it up. They didn't ask me. I mean, the thing was that my mother-in-law met me in Colombia. So I'm in Colombia and I have coffee from Colombia. I have like a lot of candy from Peru. So they're like, what's going on here? And I'm like, well, my mother-in-law was there with me and he was like, oh, that's nice, like blah blah blah. They're like, I'm sorry, this is protocol. And I'm like, oh, well, you could have started with that scenario. But that's honestly the only time. Other than that, it's the same questions, and I try not to say a lot either because it's not necessary. But they never really give me a hard time, so I
So
don't.
here's my theory, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct. The questions that they ask you, especially in regards to why did you travel, has nothing to do with what you put on your application. They're just trying to figure out if you are up to no good. I think drugs is the number one. Make sure you're not smuggling drugs. They know exactly the day you left the country. If when you travel, as soon as you get on the plane, as soon as you board the plane, go to the CBP website to check your arrivals and your departures. It will be there already, like before the plane even leaves. They know when you left, and obviously they know when you're coming back. It's right there. So those questions are just to make sure that you're answering truthfully and there's no contradiction there. Uh,
Yes, for example, sorry, because I have dental, a lot of people ask me, they're like, did they ask for proof or they like, no, they're not gonna no, they're not gonna sit there and ask for pictures of the progress of before and after. They're not gonna ask me for the receipts of stuff that I paid, but those are valid questions, like, yes, I did apply for dental and you guys see me in Peru and Colombia and you're like, well, but no, they don't ask me for proof of anything when it comes to dental.
Natalie saying only answer what they ask. Absolutely. This last time, and they usually don't ask me anything. Like maybe where are you coming from? That's it. They don't even ask me how many days or anything. But this last time they asked me how many days and why I traveled. And I just said I went to visit my brother. I did not go into, oh, my brother's special needs and He doesn't have a caretaker, none of that. I just said I went to visit my brother. And there were no more questions. So you definitely don't want to be, rambling. Just answer what they ask and it'll be good. Let me see if I have any more questions. I went for a consultation with my dentist and they told me I need a deep cleaning that I'm only going to pay $1,300 out of pocket. That's very low, right? I called today to schedule a consultation for braces, but they said I can't get that until I get a cleaning first. Any suggestions? My suggestion would be for them to give you a quote for the entire thing, for the cleaning and the braces, and make sure they include how long the treatment is gonna last. Anna did it for dental. Maybe she has better advice for you.
Hi, Brenda. So, my recommendation and my suggestions are there's Groupon. I mean, to be honest with you, I paid $22 for my consultation. I picked the bougiest place. When I was there, I made sure that I got my x-rays. I got just to get an overall, there's definitely a lot of like cheaper routes. Groupon has a lot of like promotions where like cleaning for this, cleaning for that, exams, x-rays, go that route. I mean, don't just settle for one place. Definitely do your research, and take pictures of your teeth now, and it doesn't matter how nasty or gross it is, and definitely pick a place that can offer the x-rays and pictures, because you can take pictures of the pictures when they take pictures, like 3D pictures of it, and make sure you get a copy of all that, but definitely don't settle for just that.
Thank you. Chino, hi. How many COVID shots do I need to be able to come back? If you're getting the Johnson & Johnson, only one. If you're getting Moderna or Pfizer, 2. You don't need boosters to return to the U.S. And this is not the AOS group, so I'm going to skip over that, and you can post your question to the AOS group because I'm not 100% sure on this. I haven't applied for AP yet. Now is my time. I have my grandmother's doctor letter from April. Do I need a new doctor's letter? Absolutely. It's November. So 7 months have passed. The maximum I would use is 60 days. Don't use a letter that's older than that. I think Natalie said she used one that was 2 months. I don't know if it was less than 60, over 60, but
I got it on March 29th, and I sent my AP May 17th. So a little bit over a month.
Okay, yeah. So less than 60 days is the rule of thumb there. You got a lot of questions, even. I have my birth certificate, also my mom's birth certificate. What else do I need besides translating all the documents to English? Are you going to wait? He said he's applying to see his grandmother. Okay. Yeah, so you need your birth certificate, your mother's birth certificate, if your grandmother is your mother's mother, and the grandmother's birth certificate or an ID. For me, the person that I was applying to go see, I didn't include their birth certificate. As long as you can prove that you are related, that's what matters. But the person in between you two, in this case, your mom, you definitely need her birth certificate because the birth certificate is going to show her mom, and that there's no other way for you to prove that. I don't think a regular ID has your parents' name. Maybe in some countries, not where I'm from.
And in my AP, I went to see my paternal grandfather. So I did not send his birth certificate. I sent mine, my mom's death certificate, her birth certificate, and my dad's birth certificate. But my grandpa's name was on my birth certificate. So that's how I prove like the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Vanessa has an important reminder. Yeah, we're not lawyers. We are trying to bend the law, but we're not lawyers.
One day we'll be. One day we'll be.
Natalie, don't forget, guys, if you're requesting for medical procedures that require several visits or to help care for an alien relative, go ahead and ask for multiple entries. Yeah, my plan now is to go with my brother to his next doctor's visit and request the letter myself and tell them, hopefully they can just write what I want them to write, not lie, but they just don't know. Like they ask you for guidance, and sometimes when you ask somebody else, you never get exactly what you wanted. Um, and maybe I send proof that I went to the doctor with him, to prove why I'm trying to travel. So get creative. There is no 100%, guidance on how to do this. It's all up to you, all up to your creativity. Years ago, nobody thought about applying to go see graves, but somebody applied and they got approved and word spread. So just be creative. I added my grandma's birth certificate as well. See the Dreamers Together checklist. Okay, thank you. My son needs a good reason to visit India. Hey, Anita, I remember seeing your comment on previous lives. Why does your son need to go to India? Maybe educational. I don't know what he does for work. Maybe that is one way. Another way would be to apply to go somewhere else that there's a stronger, reason to go to, and then just add India as a secondary reason. That would be my advice. Maybe he can go to Mexico for dental treatment. I don't know, and then just add India on top of it. Because they really don't care what countries you're adding. They really don't care. You need one good reason. If that one good reason is enough for you to travel, that's it. They don't care where you're coming from. Okay? So you just want to make sure you list those countries, but they don't care where you're coming from. If anybody else has anything to add, please feel free to jump in. I'll let Anna answer that one.
Hey, Erica. So to be honest with you, it's not really what is it to qualify as a valid estimate. I mean, in my estimate that I got, what it stated is the place, obviously their address, that it's valid, right? The procedure, like what they quote me per, like if I needed a cleaning, if I needed to get a tooth extracted, a surgery or procedure, that, and then the time of length of the treatment. So I personally, I mean, $300 American dollars, they're not. It's just not going to be, But if you can, for example, my treatment alone was just 10,000 plus the anesthesiologist. So, I mean, give or take, roughly, I would recommend, me personally, anywhere between $2,000 to like 10 plus would be good. But again, don't settle for just one place. You can definitely, shop around, go to different places to see who gives you the highest estimate, to be honest with you, without insurance, because I don't have insurance and as a self-pay patient.
Thank you. And how do I check? I don't remember what he was talking about. How do I check what? Can you please add another comment and referring back to what you were asking about? Yvette, can I try to apply for InfoPass if one of my aunts passed away last month? You can. That would honestly be up to the officer though, because your aunt is not your immediate relative, and some offices are really strict about that, especially when it comes to emergency. But people have been approved, so it's definitely Oh, I'm honestly missing the last month there part. It's almost the end of November already. If it was last month, if you call now, it's going to take a couple days to get a call back, and then they're going to schedule it for probably next week. By then, it will be over a month. So is it really an emergency? I think you're better off just mailing it in.
I think you can make your case stronger, Yvette, and add something else, education, grade, dental, something. Because honestly, not that it's not a valid reason, but I think that for an aunt, yeah, she could be like, raised you, mother, however you want to put it, but definitely make it stronger, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, agreed. Do I need a COVID test to come back? No, you don't need a COVID test to come back. You have to check where you're going. If you're going to Mexico, you don't. There are probably a few places, not many, that still require a COVID test, but chances are you'll be okay if you're vaccinated. But just Google. We've had people recently get approved for work related. They had an Amazon or Etsy store and stated they needed to travel abroad to procure and negotiate merchandise to sell online. Would be a possibility for anyone who wants to travel to sell artisan or handmade items from their home country. Remember, be creative. I saw that post and I was like, yes, because I've actually thought about that. And so that was really cool to read. So once again, you're creative. It's work. You don't have to have a physical office, a physical building. If you're selling stuff online, it's still a valid reason. You can go to China to get merchandise to sell. Why not? Thank you. I received an estimate from an ortho just for adult braces. I did post a picture of the estimate in the group. Okay. Not an immediate relative, but definitely valid for AP. That's actually the reason I applied the first time, was to see my grandmother. So you'll be fine. A lot of us apply for that because obviously our grandparents are old and they're more likely to have health issues. So it is just easier to use your grandparents. But yeah, if it's like a cousin, a distant cousin, your third cousin, it's probably a little difficult. Brenda, she said, how does she check that J&J might not be accepted sometimes for vaccines? Not for the US. For the US, it's fine. I got the J&J and I've traveled 5 times. They've asked for my card every time and I was fine. So you'll be fine. The US doesn't accept some foreign vaccines. I don't know if AstraZeneca is one of them, but I mean, if you're traveling on AP, you probably got your vaccine here. So whatever vaccine you got here, you'll be fine. Now, if you have relatives trying to come here on a tourist visa, they may want to check, but you'll be fine. Has anyone heard of medical tourism? Yes. I don't remember seeing anybody traveling on AP for this reason, but I would think it's definitely a valid reason. What do you guys think?
Medical to wait, are you asking? Yeah. It's definitely valid. In the medical field, I work in a hospital, and I actually saw a post. More or less, I think if you do it through like your church and like, um, you're helping, like let's say you're a nurse practitioner or a doctor or anything around, even if you're just volunteering. I did see someone post that they went through their church to do a service. I think it was in Salvador, and like for like homeless children around that, and it was under the medical tourism. So I think it's there.
Yeah, I would just refrain from using the word tourism.
Right.
because you don't want them to think this is a
Right. Or like
vacation.
provide, right. I mean, me
So
personally, I thought about, because I'm in the medical field, I'm like, okay, well, let me see what I can think of. Um, for what's it called? Like, there's a word, I'll think of it. But where I can use my services and implement them in different countries, helping now that there was like a hurricane and um, just things like that. So, like as a first responder, more or less. So, yeah. But I wouldn't put medical tourism.
yeah, one important thing to note is that from what I've seen with volunteer work, it works similarly to education, in the fact that whatever organization you're volunteering for or whatever place you're going to study at needs to be connected to a US institution. So if you're going to volunteer somewhere else, that has to be linked to maybe a nonprofit organization here in the US.
More or less like the Red Cross and like first responders and things. Yes, I did my research and that is correct. So for example, with like, because I live in Florida and I'm close to like um what was it, Cuba? There's other islands that were impacted and they were asking if, we wanted to get deployed, and I'm like, ooh, that's another idea that I can think about, but it's definitely through a nonprofit organization here.
Jose, heck yes, but let me answer, let me read your question first. I applied for AP in July. My reasons were for educational purposes. I stated on my application that I needed to leave the country by November or December. Am I going to still be able to use AP even though they approved it after the days I stated? Yes, just use it. Don't let it go to waste. Um, Especially if you don't have a legal entry already, that's fine. You were approved. It's it sucks that you won't be able to attend the program that you applied for, but go do some sightseeing instead. Then that's what I say. Javier, was the multiple entries question answered? Does having multiple entries bring issues with getting approved or reentry? No. The only issue it brings is that it gets annoying because you have to list all your departures on your renewal application for DACA. But legally, no. You are allowed to leave for on the dates that you got approved for. It doesn't matter if you leave one time or 20 times. As long as you're abiding by the document, you're fine. I feel like I may have skipped a question or two. Oh, yes, I did. This one. We already answered the shots question. Also, on my DACA, I have always put entry with inspection. That's what my lawyer put the first time. Is that a problem for AP? That's not a problem specifically for AP, but it is a problem if it's not truthful in general, especially if you plan on adjusting status in the future, unless you did come in with inspection, meaning you came in on a visa, some kind of permit. That means with inspection. If you came in illegally, then you did not come in with inspection. So that's what you've got to figure out there. I don't know why your lawyer would say that you came in and you were inspected if you weren't, but if that's the case, then you need to get that corrected. Natalie, I think they're referring to multiple illegal entries into the US. Oh, okay. If that's what you're referring to, it's not a problem for AP. We've had people travel with more than one illegal entry. It is just a problem to adjust status because you've already triggered the 10-year bar or the permanent bar. So that's when the problem is gonna happen. But for AP, that's not an issue. I'm talking too much, guys. Anything else you want to add?
I'm a little shy. No, I'm just kidding. All right, what's the next question? I think I'm
Oh,
not.
somebody asked how was Peru. You didn't answer that.
Oh, yes, yes. Wow. Um, I love it there. My mother-in-law is amazing. She just like, I don't know, she spoils me more than she does to her child, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm like I love it there. I eat, I travel. She's actually taken me. So every time now I know that every time I go there, I literally land, leave my luggage, and then we take another plane to either a Providence or those little towns. And honestly, the first time I went was to like the warm weather ish. I mean, there's a lot of um dry, more or less like it looked like a desert, but it wasn't a desert, I'm sure. In English, I don't know how to describe it. But the second time that I went there, I went to a place called Cajamarca where like the cheese is huge there. I got so much coffee. I got so many goodies there. The weather was amazing. Honestly, now that we're winter here in Florida, it's like summer there. So when I go, I really don't need to take anything because everything is so cheap there. Like the clothes, the cotton. I got so many baby alpaca sweaters and jackets, and I mean, I don't need it. I'm in Florida, but it's still like, but in case
I
I
need it.
decide,
It's 30 degrees over here.
well,
Send
I'm
some
going to
my
New
way.
York. I'm going to New York in December, so I was like, maybe I'll need it at some point. But honestly, it's beautiful. Colombia is too. So I always tell everybody, I see a lot of people comment on like, oh, I want to go back to my home country. I'm like, damn, your country is beautiful. Just people there in general. The food is delicious. We know that, right? And every time and then that's another thing. What can we bring back from the countries? I'm gonna be honest with you. You can take it however you want. I loved every bit of it. I always get asked if I can bring food back. I brought food from like Peru, Colombia, and Mexico. Every time I fly back home, I always have food with me as long as there's no fruit, right? So, long story short, I spent my birthday in Peru. My 28th birthday, I had a huge party there. Pictures are all over our page. And then my mother-in-law had a cake made for me, and she literally wrapped it in a bag, aluminum foil, and she put it in my carry-on bag. Yes, I did pass through TSA with that. Okay, a whole cake. So when anybody asks me like what's allowed, I'm like, wow. In my case, I brought a whole cake, but I actually this time that I brought grandma with me, if I tell you she brought like the lentils, beans, like everything and anything, like the chili peppers, the dried peppers, as long as they're not like fresh with seeds, you can bring them. And she's been cooking every day for us, like fresh Peruvian food. So Peru was amazing. Let's go. Who's coming with me next time?
I want to go. Did you go to Cusco yet?
No, so Cusco's in January. When I take grandma back, I'm going to Cusco. Yeah, she's of course I have to go. I mean, I can't just go to Peru and then say I didn't go to Cusco.
Yeah.
But no, that's in the next trip, next trip.
Cool. Awesome. What happened? Question. Do we know if all information given on First Doc application is sent to all government agencies for FOIA updates? The FOIA the information is not sent to a different agency for your FOIA. When you request your FOIA, the agency you're requesting it from is the one that sends it to you. So if you send your application to USCIS and then you request your FOIA from USCIS, that's what you're going to get back. USCIS is not going to send that to somebody else unless they're trying to deport you. They could send that to ICE. But for FOIA purposes, that doesn't go anywhere else. So if you send your FOIA to ICE requesting your previous DACA applications, you're not going to get anything because ICE doesn't have that. That's USCIS. So I hope that answers your question. What happens if your AP is denied? Do you get your money back? No, unless it's an InfoPass appointment. So if you go in for an emergency AP, you don't get charged unless they approve you. But if you're mailing it in, you get charged regardless. But the approval rate is really high. I can probably say with confidence that in the last couple of years that I've been following this group and previous groups, I've seen less than 10 denials of all of us, all these people, thousands and thousands of people. I've seen very few denials, so you should be fine. My cousin was one of those denials because he was dumb. He's applied to go see his dad's grave, but he literally did not send any proof. He did not send a death certificate. He did not send proof that his dad was his dad. He literally just wrote an affidavit and sent it. I don't know who told him to do that, but that's why he got denied. Okay, you said the other one. Oh, no, it's a different person. There's a famous lawyer in Univision. I forgot her name, but she made a video explaining to be careful in requesting your FOIA on your own without a lawyer. Anybody knows why she would say that? I mean, I guess if you're wanted, and you're requesting your records, I could see how that could be a problem.
Right.
And it's Univision, like, come on.
Right. Like, I think we need to I think that, yeah, I've been getting that a lot in comments and lives. And guys, I'm always going to say the things repetitively. You can't really, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Like Vanessa said, we're not lawyers, we're not paralegals, and I get it. But a lot of the things you can't just go believing, oh, well, I heard you can't go to Colombia and Peru, or I heard if you put a country in your application. You didn't even read the guides yet. You didn't even take the time to really, you don't even know why you want to apply for AP. So you're going to sit here and tell me that you are telling other people, scaring them under my post that I've literally made posts in Peru. And then I made it back because I wouldn't be here talking to you guys, right? Or telling you from the comfort of my home that don't listen to what a lot of people say. I mean, I was misled myself, so I hear you. I'm all for it. But if there's evidence and there's proof of us out here taking our time to tell you our story, there's no reason why you should, still comment or say, well, I heard or somebody said, or, they're going to deny your entry because it's not. No, stop, please, the nonsense, of get it together.
I just wanted to add to the FOIA topic. When you can do it on your own, but just be careful about what you say when you request it. You definitely don't want to be like, oh, I'm trying to see if you have a record of my third illegal entry in 2007, You don't want to tell them that, right? So just be careful, and if you're trying to see if they have records of your entries, just request that. I want to see my entry record. Don't give them information that they might not have, because that may hurt you.
Eileen.
In my humble opinion, denials have been for incompetent lawyers or applications that were not properly filed. Yeah, perfectly said. Because they're being really lenient, approving us for stuff that is definitely not urgent humanitarian.
Yeah.
Right? So we got a good shot there. So what documentation would you recommend to send for an AP for humanitarian reasons to see an aunt who has high blood pressure? She is not in grave condition or anything like that. You definitely need her doctor's letter. Make it sound as serious as possible. A lot of times the doctors will write, patient has high blood pressure, like one sentence, and then 20 sentences on how she's doing great. Like, I don't want to know, that she's doing well in all these areas, just focus on the bad.
Right.
Just try to guide them like that.
Right.
But she doesn't need to be in serious condition.
Right.
use the affidavit to your advantage. You know, if this is an aunt that you're really close to, maybe she helped raise you, tell that story. Thank you for your time. You're welcome. And we are past the hour. If there are no more questions, I will let you guys go. Thank you, Anna and Natalie,
Of
for
course.
participating.
Thank you
So,
for having me.
I'm
thank
sure
you for
we'll hear
inviting me.
from.
We're all here to help. You know, yeah. We all have a little bit experience in different,
Yeah,
of AP, dental, humanitarian. There's always someone that can help you. So, and
I may have
this
to
is
hire
your
somebody to
sign.
bust
This
my
is your
teeth so
sign
I
to
can apply
apply.
for that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'll let you guys know when my next. Actually, in January, I have to. No, it's January. Yeah, I have to apply in January. So I'll let you guys know my adventure, but I'll be doing lives. And if you guys need me, I try to answer as straightforward. Again, I'm not trying to be rude. I love this group, and it's just constantly the same questions. When I know you didn't even read the comment above, it's kind of like, come on, guys, let's put a little bit of effort, make your affidavit strong, and don't think that too much information is a lot. Like the more you would like put your feelings into it and the more evidence you have, I really don't think that there's a reason why you would get denied, but definitely do your research. And thank you. We'll go again.
Thank you. And to answer this last question, I don't know how people come up with these things,
Right.
but you guys are really creative, and I'm just in awe. And I'm not calling you dumb or anything, Odalis. Okay, it's just I'm sure you heard this from someone else, who heard it from somebody else, who heard it from somebody else. So it's crazy. She's asking, is it true if your receipt notice starts with IOE, your case has been delayed? No.
No.
No,
Your
honey. It's expedited. No, let me
your
stop there.
receipt, that's your receipt number. That's assigned to you when they first get your application. So there's no way like they would know that your application is delayed right when they got it. So no, that has nothing to do with it. Your the letters have to do with the service center that it's at, and also I believe the type of application, but no, has nothing to do with being delayed or not. With that, good night, guys.
All right.
Good
Good night.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
All right, bye.